The avoidant left you in a specific state. You were pursuing them, tolerating their inconsistency, accepting breadcrumbs while hoping for more. They cataloged you in their mind as someone who would always be available, always waiting, always willing to accept whatever minimal effort they offered. But they miscalculated catastrophically. The person they left behind no longer exists. In their absence, you transformed into a version of yourself they never anticipated encountering. You healed, you grew, you evolved beyond the dynamic that once kept you stuck. And now, witnessing this transformation, the avoidant is experiencing genuine shock that is forcing them to reconsider everything they believed about you and about their own choices. You are no longer accessible. The avoidant assumed that whenever they decided to return, you would be there. They believed your feelings for them were permanent, that your patience was infinite, that the door they walked through would remain open indefinitely. But the version of you that emerged is someone with boundaries they cannot cross. You are not angry or vindictive. You are simply unavailable in ways that are absolute and non-negotiable. You have built a life that does not include space for their inconsistency. You have standards that their patterns cannot meet. You have moved forward in ways that make their return impossible rather than just unlikely. This inaccessibility shocks them because it contradicts their fundamental assumption that they always have the option to come back. They are discovering that some doors, once closed, do not reopen, and you are the one holding that door shut with calm certainty they never expected from you. You radiate a confidence that was not there before. The person the avoidant left was still finding themselves, still questioning their worth, still making their value contingent on external validation. But the version of you that emerged carries yourself completely differently. You move through the world with self-assurance that comes from having chosen yourself over someone who could not choose you. You speak with conviction. You make decisions without seeking approval. You exist in your own power in ways that are undeniable and magnetic. This confidence shocks the avoidant because it is evidence that losing them did not destroy you. If anything, it freed you to become more fully yourself. They expected you to be diminished by their absence. Instead, you are elevated. They thought you needed them to be complete, but you demonstrated that you only needed yourself, and that demonstration is both impressive and threatening to someone who assumed they held more power in the dynamic than they actually did. You have stopped making them the center of your universe. When the avoidant left, your world revolved around them. Your mood depended on their availability. Your days were organized around their sporadic attention. Your emotional state rose and fell with their inconsistent presence. But the version of you that emerged has a life that is rich and full, independent of whether they participate in it. You have reconnected with friends, pursued passions, achieved goals that have nothing to do with them. You are thriving in ways that make it clear you are not waiting for them to validate your existence. This shift shocks the avoidant because it removes the psychological leverage they believed they had. They cannot disrupt your peace because you have protected it. They cannot destabilize you because your stability no longer depends on them. You have decentralized them from your emotional world, and this demotion from their assumed position of importance is jarring evidence that you have genuinely moved on. You see them clearly, now without rose-colored glasses. Perhaps the most shocking aspect of your transformation is that you see the avoidant for exactly who they are. You are no longer projecting potential onto them or making excuses for their patterns. You understand their attachment style without romanticizing it. You recognize their fear without taking responsibility for managing it. You acknowledge their wounding without believing you can heal it. This clear-eyed assessment shocks them because it means you cannot be manipulated by the same tactics that once worked. You will not fall for breadcrumbs disguised as effort. You will not interpret their intermittent availability as progress. You will not accept their words without corresponding actions. The version of you that emerged has learned to read their behavior accurately rather than optimistically. And this discernment makes you immune to the patterns they relied on to maintain control. You embody the growth they refused to pursue. The most unsettling shock for the avoidant is witnessing you become the person they could have been if they had been willing to do the work. You faced your wounds instead of running from them. You addressed your attachment patterns instead of defending them. You chose growth over comfort, transformation over stagnation. Meanwhile, they remained exactly the same, trapped in patterns they refused to examine, still sabotaging connections out of the same fears that destroyed what you had. Seeing your growth while they remained stuck is a mirror they cannot look away from. It reveals that change was always possible, that healing was always available, that the only barrier was willingness. You proved that transformation is achievable, which means their continued dysfunction is a choice rather than an inevitability. This realization is shocking and shameful because it eliminates their last excuse for remaining broken. Why this shock will haunt them forever. The avoidant will carry the shock of encountering the transformed version of you for the rest of their life. You are evidence of what they lost, not just a person, but the possibility of who they could have become alongside you. Every future relationship will be measured against what you achieved without them. Every moment of stagnation will be haunted by the memory of your growth. They are shocked now, but this shock will evolve into permanent regret as they realize they fumbled someone who was capable of extraordinary transformation, someone who chose themselves when the avoidant could not choose them. The version of you that emerged is their lost opportunity made visible, their missed chance embodied, their biggest regret walking through the world without them, thriving in ways that prove you never needed them to be whole.